Good morning. It's Monday, and how you doing without the hour of sleep? Did you use it yesterday? Did you just stay home from church because you missed it, or did you just power through? Did you just do what I did, just pretend that didn't exist on Saturday and just went to bed? That's what you should have done. Here in Florida, we're about to get rid of it. We're about to stay on daylight savings time. It looks like the folks at the legislature decided that they would submit a bill, and the governor is going to sign it and go to Congress, and we're going to opt out of that other thing and stay daylight savings time all the time.
Woo-woo. Can't wait.
I like it. You know what? That whole getting dark at 4:30 in the afternoon sucks. Y'all can have that up north. Y'all can have that on the East Coast. But we're going to opt out. We're going to nah. It's only 6 o'clock. It shouldn't be pitch black at 6 o'clock in the evening. So hopefully that'll be better. All right. Who we got there? Cedra.
Hi, Cedra.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Last Monday we did a live cast, and we talked about the submissive wife. Really a lot of watchers, a lot of people who were concerned.
And comments.
Oh my goodness gracious. Boy, that's a hot button issue.
Are you submissive?
Some of y'all. I'm telling me. Some of y'all. But so I thought it was only appropriate that we do the other side of that, which is as important. Men need to be obedient also. Husband love your wives, because that's the other part of that in Ephesians. That's the other part, and that's as important as anything else. So we thought we'd talk about that a little bit, and what that means. And if ladies are watching, I know a lot of ladies watch. This is the one that you share with your husband, or if you're about to get married. I had somebody contact me yesterday who's getting engaged, and my suggestion was that they watch our videos. So you can watch here on Facebook, but we'd appreciate it if you go to YouTube and like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Excuse me, I'm feeling like I'm a little undressed here. Excuse me. I'm very conservative.
You got that extra 30 minutes of sleep.
I do. I do. So we're gonna. There are basically three tenets of this that I want to explore. The first one is that Christ loved the word says that husbands should love their wives as Christ loves the church. Now we have to decide what that means. What's that mean? Well, I'm going to boil it down to three things. The first thing is that kind of love is obviously a sacrificial love. Christ gave his life for the church. So we're talking about a sacrificial love. And it's funny, I talk all the time about that this whole marriage thing is not some weird 50-50 partnership like Oprah says it is.
It's not.
Oprah. It's crazy. It's about what you're willing to give up for a relationship. What you're willing to sacrifice for the relationship.
And I often said I want him to give 100%, and I give 100%. But sometimes, like in the Tyler Perry movie, it's an 80-20 thing. So it fluctuates. You know, we have times when you're the strong one, and the other person's only giving 20% or 90%. But it's definitely not a 50-50 thing, because it's going to sway back and forth. That, sometimes you're the 100, and they may not be strong enough to give any. Sometimes you got to hold up the whole thing. So you be prepared. Marriage, again, is not an easy thing.
Not for wimps.
It's not for wimps.
It's not for wimps. And guys have to understand that. So I know there's a lot of guys who maybe grew up in fairly traditional. Who's that?
Stacy.
Hey, Stacy. Sharon. Hey, Miss Sharon.
Sharon and Sharon.
Oh my goodness, I haven't seen Miss Sharon in a long time. Yes, I got old. Crazy, ain't it?
Not old.
So for when Miss
Yeah.
Jacobs saw me, I've aged a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when we're talking about sacrifice, that's the thing we're talking about. You know what? If those times where you may have to push in another 5% when, you know, from before, or there's some things that maybe that you don't do anymore. The things that, yes, we're all aged a little bit, Cedric, you're right. You know what, things that you don't do anymore, things that you don't say anymore, things that, you know what, something that you used to do or used to have that because of the relationship you don't have and do anymore. That's the sacrifice that you make. Maybe, you know, and I know this is going to sound really over the top, but maybe there are dreams or aspirations that you might have had as a young person that you have either changed and or put on hold because it wasn't the right time inside the confines of the relationship that you decided on purpose. That's not what we're going to do now. Not what I'm going to do now, because I'm going to sacrifice myself a little bit and some of the things that I thought I wanted anyway, because relationship is more important. The marriage is more important. So there's a sacrificial thing. And now here's the other side of that. Now you don't walk around with that like a Batman cape. Here's all the things that I sacrificed for you. That's not how you do it. You just do it. I mean, when Christ came back, and got seen by the disciples, he didn't start saying, "Do you know what I just went through over there
for you?"
For you, didn't say that at all. Do you know I've been to hell? Didn't say. You know, there was nothing in the word that says how we made sure that they knew. That's not how it went. So that's not, again, how Christ loves the church. So that's what you have to do. See, and that takes maturity, and that takes a lot of self-control and maturity. So that's one of the things, one of the pieces on the husbands, how to love your wife like Christ loves the church. Who's that? That's Patricia, somebody. Pat Farrell. Hey, morning. So that's one of those things that, again, we have to concern ourselves with as husbands. And you know what? And if you're not married yet, guys, this is one of the things that you've got to consider when you plan on getting into a relationship with somebody for the next 50 years. Because this is what we're talking about. We're not talking about, well, I'm going to try it and see what happens. No.
It's not a science project.
No, science project. Well, I'll try and see what happens. I'll put a little vinegar in the top and see if the volcano thing is. No. This is something that you're deciding to get into for the rest of your lives. So there are some very serious things that that you have to consider, guys. You have to consider these things. You have to consider them seriously. And I think that's really, really very, very important that you do. And if you don't, you're gonna find out. You're gonna find out that you should have. You're gonna come back to me later and say, "Well, yeah, Will, you're right. I should have, and I didn't." And I'm gonna go, "Well, told you. I tried to help you, but you were hard-headed." And that's one. And that's the first thing that we got at 9:12. Good. Let's go on. If we can go on to the second one.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. And here's one that all these get misunderstood, but that's why we're doing this. The second one is protection. Now, the obvious thing is physical protection, obviously. Protection in a sense of provision and providing, and those things that we always, that seem obvious to people. But that's not the whole gambit of protection. Obviously, you do those things too. To the best of your ability, you provide to the best of your ability. Obviously, you do all that, but protection is a little different. But real protection is a little different. For instance, let me give you an example.
Brown.
Oh, who's that? Brown. Hey, Brown. Hey, but protection in one sense. Let's say you have a family that maybe not so happy with who you chose to marry. And every time you go to the family reunion, every time you go to the Christmas, Easter's coming up, somebody got something to say. Now, I never had that problem because I was a golden child.
Yes, my parents treated him sometimes better than they treated me. So,
I was a golden child.
He was very blessed to have
awesome.
them as in-laws. They pretty much put up like banners and everything and celebrated when Willie came.
Oh, Willie's here! Oh, it was great. It's like being a conquering hero. And because of it, I'm spoiled rotten. I'm gonna tell you, but I know that's not we know that that's not everybody's reality. So you go and somebody always got something to say, right? And whether it's a parent or whether it's one of your cousins or or siblings, everybody got something to say. Now, a lot of times because we don't want all hell to break loose all the time, we may not say anything, or we may say to our spouse, "Well, you know."
Yeah, just
take
it.
It's okay.
No, you need to
No.
You need to protect your spouse because you left your family and you went to this person. So you have got to protect them when they are in. That's a battle for them, and it's really unfair for that to bring them around your family when you know how they are. And then not tell them, well, you need to respect her or you need to respect him. So
and that's the part where a lot of people, it's amazing to me how many people fall down, and guys, how many people fall down on that. Because you know what? Because I get it. You're caught between a rock and a hard place because you don't want to be disrespectful to your parents. I understand. I get that. But you have to decide that you are going to protect your spouse and your wife from those attacks. You cannot, under any circumstances, let her go through those things by herself on her own. You can't just stand there and watch that happen. You just can't, because that protection is more important at that point, really emotionally, than just, okay, so you go to work every day 9 to 5, that's cool, and there's food in the house, but every time she's around your family, she feels less. What? You can't do that. That's not how it works. That's the protection part that a lot of people fall down on. And that's the part even more so than the financial part. And the financial piece is a big piece. I get that. But people's marriages fall apart and end because of this piece of the protection thing that a lot of guys just don't do. Now, ladies, you gotta do this too. If you go there and your sister's always talking trash to your husband, to his face all the time, at some point you have to step in and go, you're going to have to treat my husband better than that. You're just going to. Now, I know y'all don't disagree. I don't agree with everything. I get that. But I'm not going to let him come in here, I mean, every Christmas and Easter and Thanksgiving and family reunion and be treated like dirt. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And that protection piece is a really huge piece that a lot of people, unfortunately, do not get. We have some folks coming in. We appreciate it. Hey, everybody. Who is that?
Brenda and Melba. Hello.
Hi. This is my Facebook. The third piece, first piece is sacrifice. The second piece is protection. And the third piece is encouragement.
And I think this may be the biggest part of a relationship because when you got married, you became one. So if you're not encouraging your spouse, you're not encouraging yourself. and you're setting the whole picture up for failure.
And I think that a lot of times people don't really understand how important that is, because on the surface, a lot of times things seem fine. There's a mundaneness to 30 plus years of marriage, because, and I don't say mundaneness in a bad sense, but there's a groove to it. Y'all, some people who've been married, you know what, you be married 10 years and tell me there isn't an everydayness to it. You go to work, you come home, you eat, you go to sleep, you watch TV, blah, blah, blah.
The kids,
it's the same thing. It's the thing every day. Now, it may be great, and it may look great from the outside, but if there's not that encouragement, if there's not that time where you cheer your wife on, where you say, of course you can do that. Why? Because you're smart and you are driven, and there isn't anything you can't do. That you've got the mind of Christ. So what do you mean you can't? What do you mean you're worried about that? And if you haven't figured out how to do that, then you're going to be in big trouble sooner. Well, you may already be, if you're not doing that, you may already be in trouble. You may already be in trouble. And you know what? And we want to do these to help people and encourage people. But if that's not happening, if you're not encouraging your spouse, if you're not encouraging a wife, you may already be in trouble. To just assume because nothing big has happened that everything is okay in that area is the biggest mistake ever. Huge.
And I think that's a lot of times why you see people that have been married for 30, 40 years and then all of a sudden get a divorce. You're like,
what the hell?
What is going on
with these people
there? And and that didn't just happen. It comes up from years and years, and she just, I say she, but he also just taking it in, the mundane, you go and you come and this and the other. And then when the kids are gone and you have nothing extra to focus on, and it's just you and him there, and you got to really get it together and talk and get to know each other again. And then you realize, you have all this regret and resentment to this person. It's like, I wanted to start a catering business and I had these kids for you and blah, blah, blah. And you don't even appreciate it. You never encouraged me. You never told me that I was doing a good job as a wife or a mother or nothing like that. And then all of a sudden, 40 years of dedication that you thought you had is gone.
And you participated in all sorts of ridiculously stupid behavior because you didn't protect your wife. You participated in what you thought were jokes, because there's always jokes about what a pain in the butt your wife is. Right, guys? Right. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't participate. Don't complain about your spouse to other people because that's not protecting them. I don't care. I don't care if your buddy says to you that his wife is doing this and that, and your wife's doing the very same thing. Don't you dare.
Don't talk negative.
Don't you dare rip that cover off of her. Don't you dare. Just don't do it. So people participate in all that stuff, and they don't encourage, and they don't say, "Of course you can. I trust you." They don't, because I think it may be the hardest. It may be the hardest part.
It's one of the top hard things to do.
It's one of the, because people don't think people need encouragement, but that's what people lack a lot. Sometimes you just have to give them a hug and say it's going to be okay, and you're plenty enough. We see that in in a lot of pop culture things when we're talking about girls, especially that you've seen the hashtags and you've seen that stuff. You are enough. Well, you know what? Marriage was supposed to be that in the beginning, and we started off about how Christ loves the church. Christ always said from the beginning, you didn't have to change, you didn't have to do anything. You're already enough. You're already enough. So, guys, we got to make sure that our wives are always encouraged. always, I mean, whether you have a wife that works, whether you have a wife that gets to stay home and take care of the rugrats, whatever it is, that they're always encouraged, that things that they are always plenty. Let me help you with a secret. You know, come close. Yes. Your wife is the most beautiful woman on the planet. Period. Period. The only woman that can be prettier than your wife is your mama. Is it? This culture has women so worried about what they look like. And your wife is not immune to that. And simply saying to her, well, I married you, didn't I?
I'm here.
I'm here. I come home drunk every night, but I get here. Guys, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. And especially like Debbie was saying, you know, some of us hanging there 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. It's not enough that, yeah, 40 years ago you married me. Mm-hmm. That's not enough. That's not. Yeah, that's got to be something that's continuous. That's got to be something that's ongoing. And women don't, and actually guys don't mind it either. Being encouraged in that kind of stuff. You know, it's like, hey, I like that shirt on you. I like the way that looks. And yes, let them. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say it. Okay. Let them catch you checking them out when they walk away. Mm-hmm. What? That ain't never gone away. Not for me anyway. I'm be honest. I'm gonna be honest about this. You know what? I don't want to give away. You know what? I want to bring y'all into every day in my house. But I'm gonna tell you that doesn't go away. It's that saying that I hate to see you go, but I love to see you walk away.
Well, maybe one for a special one time we'll do a little late night show so we can.
Now late night for us is like 7:30. Oh. when we get back from Denny's. That blue,
on a Friday, our date
from that blue plate special. We get back from Denny's. Well, it's 8:30. All y'all should be going to bed. Has the sun down yet? Almost.
But we need to do an adult version of this so that it's you know that it's adult conversation that we're having.
And if you want that, let us know by commenting, and we'll do that. We'll do that especially on YouTube. How about that? We'll make a YouTube special.
Yes. And
we'll live stream it on YouTube. If you guys would like that, just let us know in the comments there on the side there while you're writing. That would be very, very cool. Or you could send us or you can go to the website, www.realtalkshow.us, www.realtalkshow.us, not .com, .us, because somebody, I don't know, the Real, that stupid show, those blabbering hens took the .com for the Real show. So I had to go to US. So,
but back to the subject that we were talking about, women, it's important that you encourage your husbands also. Build them up. You know, they have if you're being the submissive wife, you need to build him up and let him know, you know, I think you're doing an awesome job in providing for us, so that you've done well in helping to raise our son into being a strong man. Our daughters represent, you know, you showing them how they should be treated. And I think you're doing an awesome job. You know, encourage them. You know, they need lifting up a lot more sometimes than we do, because they are carrying a big load.
Men have egos like Crystal. I do. Our egos,
you can shatter it very quickly,
and it takes a long time, if ever,
to build it back,
to get it back. I mean, our egos are like lead crystal. They break and shatter into 1,000 pieces. So and I don't think a lot of people realize that. A lot of guys know that, but a lot of guys y'all won't admit to it. Y'all won't admit to it. You walk around like John Gray says, broken all the time, and there's nobody that knows. You just keep it to yourself and you swallow it, and you feel like a failure every single solitary day.
But if you women are in tune with your husband like you should be, you can tell when, you know, they're not quite there. You know, there's something that has broken them, and they need you to bandage them back up and build them up and get that super glue out and put those pieces back together.
Gorilla glue.
Yeah, gorilla glue.
They roll you in gorilla glue and put you back out there. Yeah, because
they'll tape it up.
Yeah, because sometimes that's what it takes. So the encouragement piece is a huge piece in, you know what, in marriages and relationships, because that's the person who needs to be encouraging you the most. And that's the person that you, frankly, need encouraging you the most. Other people will tell you you're great and that you do a great job and everything's on the ball. And everybody here who has experienced that. But it's that one person that you needed to hear from that you never heard from. And for a lot of people, it's a parent, it's a dad who never said anything nice, and you spent your whole life trying to get their approval. You spent their whole life trying to get their encouragement. And for a lot of people, that's why they're broken. That's why they're broken now. So in a marriage situation, the idea is that your spouse needs to be that person for you. Just like in Grey's Anatomy, she's my person. Y'all seen that? Because we've seen all of them.
we binge watched
13 years in like 6 weeks.
Pretty much.
It was crazy. That song was in the house for like 6 weeks. Look at all loop. It was there. Watch them all.
I was recovering from surgery.
You were, and we watched them all, every single one. But that is, and that's, you know, that's the best thing. That's the best thing. Your spouse needs to be your person, and that's the person that needs to step up and be your encourager. And like Debbie said, be in tune to when you need encouragement. Now, guys, we'll talk about on another program about problem solving. Not so much, because that's not the same thing. I know it gets complicated, right? It's not the same thing. When they come home with a problem and you think you're encouraging by solving the problem, is not always the same thing.
Sometimes we just want to vent. Sometimes we just want to talk, and we just want you to sit and listen. Like
that Alexa thing on Turn That Live. Yeah. Yeah. So that's, you know, so we're going to talk about.
Hi, Judy.
About that difference, because there's a difference in trying to problem solve and encouragement. So again, if you guys have any topics that you want us to cover that we can cover at 9 o'clock in the morning, summer is coming up, so you know we don't want to get anything too in depth while the children are watching.
And they're on spring break this week.
Exactly. So leave them in the comments or send us an email, Deb at realtalkshow.us or Will at realtalkshow.us or here on Facebook, or you can go to the website and leave a comment there. So we'd appreciate that. All right, it's time to get out of here and make room for somebody else. So, right? Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Gotta go to work. Gotta make that cheese.
You gotta go out there and make that cheddar outside that door right there. All right. Well, again, thanks everybody for coming this morning.
Thank you for coming in.
We appreciate it.
We love you. And as Will said, please let us know any topics that you are concerned with. If you're married and you're having issues, or if you're even regular relationship problems, work relationships, friendship relationships. I mean, you're having problems with friends. Sometimes that can be a little delicate with your best friends, you know, and you don't know how to address things. All of those relationship issues, we're here to help. We love you.
All right, till we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, go take care of yourself.
Peace.
Peace.